Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of I don't even know what the hell I'm doing with my life anymore. No, seriously, this is Don't Run with Scissors, and I'm Kelly, your favorite Jeep-driving lawyer, mom of twins and 4 crazy rescue dogs, and a rescued cat who likes to craft in her spare time. If you're new here, yeah, welcome to the crazy. But if you hit the like and subscribe button, it sends me a message. It boosts my serotonin and my self-esteem. I could use that. And if you are a returning friend, welcome back. You already know the crazy you're in for. Grab your drink, sit on back, and let's have at it. Because it's Sunday. And yeah. So, what have I been doing this last week? I have been putting out fires, and I am not a fireman. I have been yelled at. I have been sworn at. Thought I was going to get hit. It has just been everything and then some. Last night I slept for 12 and a half hours. So clearly my body needs some sleep. I did meet with a new pain management doctor. I really like him. He's on board with the game plan that we had before. So that's helpful. So we're scheduling the next ablation. I had been under the assumption, or operating under the idea that the last time we did the nerve ablation for my back was in May. Turns out it was actually February. The insurance will only approve it every 6 months, so I'm well past 6 months. So hopefully we'll get some relief. So we're just, you know what, things are busy, and we're just muddling through some days, and I have some trials coming up this week. I have some other things that need to get taken care of. Will they all happen? Your guess is as good as mine. Are we going to do our best to make them happen? We actually are. So my head has been spiraling, and what I've realized, and this is the most bizarre thing I have realized in a long time. Not that I don't realize a lot of bizarre things, but I don't function well if I don't have a notepad by me. Like, I don't work well. I don't get any work done, actually, if I don't have a notepad next to me. I am deliberately putting my notepad with my week. I'm not going to show you my week. Well, who cares? Does it have any? It does. Okay, I'm going to cover up part of it, so forgive me. So, and we're going to stick it way back here. Okay, so I wrote my list of things to do. I am limiting my weekly things to do list to 20 things. Unless it's a life or death situation, which I don't know why you would call me in a life or death situation. You should probably be dialing 911. But unless it's an emergency situation that I can help with, in order to add something to my list of 20, something has to come off. So either I have to have finished it, because some of them are phone calls that need to be made and whatnot, or I have to take something off because that situation is a higher priority, right? Okay. And let me be clear, like right now my list is at 19, so I actually do have room for one more thing, but we're not looking to add to 20, just to be safe, okay? And one of the things is to drink a glass of water every day, because I've gotten off the habit of doing that, and I need to get back to it. Some of the things are like a little bit of stitchy time. Some of them are just simple phone calls that I need to make and have kept forgetting because I didn't write them down, and you get in the throes of things, right? So, okay. So we have that. So, let's see. Do I have any haul? I bought a pattern. If you go to Leopard and Lace Co. XOXO, she is doing a fundraiser where you buy a pattern and it's Happy Stitchmas. And the proceeds to it, her church burned to the ground, essentially. She's in Texas, and Tammy is a very active member of her church. It's beautiful. But unfortunately, her church was set fire to and destroyed. And so to rebuild their church, they're doing a lot of fundraisers. and one of them is on Etsy, and I'm going to pop the link below, is to go buy this pattern because the proceeds from the pattern go to the church fund. Okay, so there's that. So I got a new rotary cutter because I don't know where I put mine. And in order to trim up the quilts and do the binding, one needs a rotary cutter. So I had hoped to take care of it last week. I did not. I did just went and bought another yard of fabric from my friend Jessie at Seams Fabric. I'll pop Jessie's website down below as well. So hopefully, quilting and binding, these two quilts are actually on one of my 20 things this week to do. Okay. I also found, I had to wash the one fabric, Kim. Oops, I dropped one of the things. I'm starting a pile for Kim to mail out, and I have, sorry, ADHD today, and if you're not sure what that is, well, I'm sorry. You should be grateful. So I have a pile for Kim, a presents, and I have stuff for Jessica. And I think that's it right now. Okay, so besides the rotary cutter, we also got my daughter's needlepoint. It will end up being an ornament. So we pulled all the flosses, and I pulled a couple. I went and got her. She had asked for like a sparkly floss, so I got her Etoile. Can you, those of you who needlepoint far more than me, because I'm just getting back into it, right? Can you needlepoint with Etoile? I hope you can, because I bought her some. And then I bought her Etoile in the 2 shades of brown for the capybara. And then I have the flosses. So I let her have my little stitch portfolio, and her little canvas fits in there nicely. So that's kind of cool. Has she started it? Well, very clearly she hasn't. What are you talking about? Crazy people. Okay. Have we crossed any more Jeeps off my list since last week? Sadly, no. No. That does actually make me sad. I don't know why my brain functions that this brings me joy, but it does. It's just like on WIPGO being able to cross off the boxes. And I think that's in part, there's several reasons I struggled with WIPGO this year, and just kind of have ended up throwing that out a window. It's not going to, my board's not going to get finished, and that's okay, right? We all try things. Some of them work, some of them don't. But I never bothered to print off the actual WIPGO and keep track of my X's, and it just, my brain doesn't do it. Okay, so what I'm most sad is that so far I don't have any red Jeeps crossed off. Red are household projects. I am hoping very soon to have at least 1 or 2 red ones crossed off. Because y'all. And then we'll have, I forget what color, the quilt binding. Let me look. Because we have our little code cheat sheet here. So we should have 2 pink Jeeps very soon. So that's exciting. Okay. So, that said, let's get into, I think that's my only haul. I mean, I bought DMC, but who cares? Like, really, do you need to see the DMCs I bought? I hope not. I hope not. So let's get into what have I actually been stitching, because that's always kind of fun, right? Okay, so what's in here? Oh, I have to pull the flosses that match the other, the 3 small words and the fabric. But I now have officially all of these, and they're all together, and they're in this bag. all of my house stuff is in this bag, which is this beautiful bag that my friend Stephanie made and sent to me. And I absolutely love it. I love when people make me things. And I know that I don't know. Stephanie thought because it's got the dogs on it, it would be perfect for Wiener Dog Wednesday. Eventually, I will switch it out to Wiener Dog Wednesday. And actually, I need to, I've got like all of the village patterns in here, including Halloween and the beach. But all of the, and so eventually eventually I'm going to separate those out a little bit more. Okay. So in here, I have not started it, but I did pull okay, so what I did figure out is this is actually white mesh or perforated paper on blue fabric, which made the white mesh actually look blue. I mean, I was like, well, I don't have blue mesh, and I've been looking all over for it. Yeah, ding dong, because it's not. It's white. It's white. So I've pulled everything, and I got the DMC for that in here, and I'm actually going to use needlepoint canvas and then make it into a little cute ornament. But have I started it? No, but we want the DMC for it, and I put it in my honey stinger bag. And if you're not familiar with honey stinger, it is a brand of racing. We use them for nutrition when I bike and race, and they make what is essentially a nutritional stroopwafel that is great when you're racing. But they also make gels and stuff that are more natural. But Honey Stinger makes a stroopwafel that's gluten-free and has like all of the things you need when you're doing endurance racing. And I am one of their ambassadors and have been for years. Okay, we didn't work on this. This is my embroidery. But, oh, Mrs. Sands, Kay, gave me a cute little hoop. She's like, can you use this? And I was like, I stitch in hand, but I can't tell her that, right? But then I was like, oh, that's going to go perfect with this. And by the way, you are beautiful. Okay. Oh, but look, here's a project that I did stitch on. So this last week was Veterans Day. And Veterans Day is very important to me. It's one of those it's one of the holidays that I try to honor in some way, right? As a member of a very long line of military family, grandparents, brother, father, like all the things, right? And friends, these kinds of things. It's actually really important to me. Anyways, I hadn't worked on this for a while. I worked on this on Veterans Day. And to the point that I'm stitching this in Cosmo, and they're just red, white, and blue that I pulled, right? It's not, and I can give you, if you want the Cosmo numbers, I can tell you. Although I would not necessarily recommend the red I pulled. It's a little too orangey to me. But this is that red bar all the way across, and it's actually too deep. I don't know. It's actually supposed to be 9 wide, like 9 rows down. So we're 2 down, but we're all the way across, and at the end will be the blue chunk. So we finished the little first fold down. So we actually made some really great progress on that. But now it's to the point, like, I know it's 9 sections of 999 kind of thing, which would make sense because these are 9 wide here too. Who knew? Who would have thought that? I don't know. Logic. It was totally escaping me at the time. It's one of those, I don't want to say it's brainless stitching, but it's stitching that I can do when I'm focusing on other things or when my brain is overwhelmed and I don't want to have to worry about if my count is right or wrong at this point. We'll have to worry about that a little bit more when we get to having to do the blue. But it sits in my bag that my friend, the same Stephanie friend who made me the dog bag, also stitches for me, and I love it. I love my project bags that come from friends. Okay, I worked more on Moroccan lanterns. Who is surprised? Not me, I tell you. Not me at all. I love this pattern. I am stitching this on 28 count Lugana in the colorway Stormy Nights. I'm stitching it 2/2. I'm only stitching the 310 right now. And guess what, y'all? Well, hang on now, because I'm sure it's much better view if I hang it the right way up. Y'all, I finished this lantern, and I finished all the chains that go up. So now we're going to move over to this side, and we're going to work on that last lantern. Y'all, I love this piece. Can you see? I love it, love it, love it. Once that last lantern, the 310 is in, then we'll start moving towards the color. And again, love it, love it, love it. Okay, so then I also worked on Pandemic, because my goal is to have this to 50% by the end of the year. That was my goal. But then I got sidetracked. Side quests? We're going to call them side quests. Like falling in love with only wanting to stitch Moroccan lanterns. With falling back in love with needlepoint that I hadn't done in eons. With getting busy at work. With taking care of Kay. With all of the things. And I set Pandemic down and I wasn't in the mood to pick it up. But I realized that if I don't stitch on this, I'm not going to meet my 50% goal. So I'm now just barely over 36%. Which means we've got to really get hustling on this. But for a while there I was frustrated because I would find one of my floss flowers, which is how I've been keeping the floss, but then I couldn't find the other one, and then I couldn't find this, and I couldn't find... Again, Kelly right now is like, if you give a mouse a cookie, then she'll want some milk to go with it. And she'll go to the refrigerator and she'll realize that the refrigerator needs to be cleaned out. So she'll start to clean out the refrigerator, and then she'll realize that she needs a trash bag. So she'll go to get a trash bag, and she'll she'll realize, might as well change the trash can bag, and she'll take the trash out. And while she's out there, she'll realize the leaves need to be raked because it's fall, and that's what time of year it is. And so she'll start to rake the leaves, and then she'll realize she doesn't have any leaf bags, so she has to go to the store. And while she's at the store, she might as well do the rest of the grocery shopping, which then brings us back to putting stuff in the refrigerator and her needing a nap. And yet we didn't do any stitching. If you give Kelly, you know. So I've got to make it a point to grab this stitch more often. I did get in all of like this in here. I know I'm showing you, and like you can't see it. What's the point? Okay, so we got this part in here done. So my goal, my thought is that 50. I'm looking to finish this page, which takes us down to roughly here. So like this corner. That won't. I don't think that will get me to 50%. But I think if I get most of this page in as well. So basically we're looking at doing a page and a half of Pandemic to get to 50% is my thought. And I'm probably going to need to, because somehow half of my brown is out of my bag, the tan that I'm using. So I'm probably going to have to go to Michael's to get more of that. And we all know that if I go to Michael's, it is going to be like giving a mouse a cookie. And I'm going to come back with yarn, and I'm going to come back with this, that, and the other thing. And you know what Michael's doesn't have? Stretcher bars for needlepoint. Guess what else Kelly needs? Stretcher bars for needlepoint. Because while I stitch cross stitch in hand, and I'm perfectly fine with that no matter what size the project is, I actually prefer to have my needlepoint on stretcher bars. Make it make sense, y'all. I don't know. Okay, so we've gotten that done. I have frames on the way from Amazon so that I can FFO the pickle sampler from Owl Forest that I finished for my friend Jasmine for Christmas, so I can put together her present. And then I also ordered a frame that I'm 99% sure will fit my FDT Quaker that I stitched for my friend Emily. the other thing I've been working on, besides, I did quilt the quilts. Like I said, I just have to trim them up and do the binding. I've been working on William's ornament, on the French horn ornament that I'm needle pointing. I tried a new stitch. I kind of jacked it up here. Not enough worry that I'm going to go back and rip that out. Not going to happen. But now I'm doing what's called a brick stitch, maybe? I don't know what I was trying to do up here. I don't know. Whatever. So I'm super close. I also don't like the fabric that the kit sent me. It's like really, it's funky. So I'm going to pull out the blue that I backed the other ornament I did. That I don't know where it is, but I bought blue for that. It has the cutout modules. I didn't like the stitch. I couldn't get the stitch that they did. They recommend the background be done in a mosaic stitch. I don't know. My brain wasn't getting it. So I looked in my needlepoint book that I got. And I found a different stitch, and that's what I did. And then I jacked that up and made my own thing, because, you know. And then I went back to it. But whatever. Whatever. It's for my son. It's not like I'm selling this. But it's almost done. And I couldn't be happier, because this is all this nasty. It's like stitching with sandpaper. It was horrible. To the point where like they gave you some for cording. First of all, this part took more than what they allocated, so then I had to use some of the stuff that they gave you for cording, and I was like, I'm not making cording out of that. Absolutely not. I will just go buy silver cording. It ain't that expensive. It's Christmas time. That shit's everywhere. So guess what I'm going to be doing when I go to Michael's to buy. What the heck am I buying at Michael's? I don't know. Not stretcher bars, because they don't have those at my girls. Okay, so that's what so anyways, this finishing the blue on this is actually on my list of 20 to do this week. So there's that. So then, if you give a mouse a muffin, if you give a mouse a muffin, or if you give a mouse a cookie, if you give a mouse a cookie, and if you give a moose a muffin, that's what the series is. So then, I started a project, because if I don't start it, I can't finish it, and it's going to be a gift. And that's the only reason I bought this pattern, was to make it to send to a friend. So I know that this friend watches my FLosstube. And so now I have a little pile of stitches that are for friends, as we know. Just like he tends his flock, and the Wizard of Oz are all for gifts. I think my December should be focused on G. Van Gogh, because that's for me, and God forbid I should ever stitch for something for me. And then friends' gifts. So like Wizard of Oz, he tends his flock. This one, my little sunflower needlepoint, which again shouldn't take too long in theory, but probably will. Anyways, I started this pattern. I can't show you the pattern, because then you'll know who it's for. The person who knows the person will know what it is and who it's for. So while I've started it, and I had I'm stitching it on 28 count Monaco, 25 count Monaco of some sort from Zweigart. It comes in the box from Michael's. It might have came from Joann's before they closed. It's the DMC. Whatever DMC is hawking, be it Zweigart or Zweigart or Witchell, I don't remember, but that's what it is. The recommended was white, which kind of surprised me, and it's fine because all of the colors look very pretty on it. But I started it, right? So again, I don't know how often I'll show you this, because as I get more of it done, the person who it's for is going to know who it's for. It's going to be painfully obvious. So that's the only other thing I worked on. This is in my bag from Tanya. originally I bought this bag so that when I stitched the cryptid sale for Bean, it would go in. But of course, the cryptid bag, right? I'm a little sidetracked on that because also in here, because it's not enough to put one project in a bag. I've got 3 shoved in here. And I could easily shove more in there. So also in here is my gingerbread gentleman's club. But I haven't started stitching that, so I'm not going to show you that. Because all you're going to be looking at is the same thing you see every other week. So that's where we're at. And Linda's jacket up. So my hope is to come back at you next week with a couple more things. Maybe, ideally, if all goes well, we'll have 2 pink, I think a blue, 2 pink, a purple, and a black filled in next week. And then the next, once that's off, once that needle point is done, oh, here's the cute little, I told her it was a halo. And that I would have to, you know, bedazzle my horns so that I would hold it up. But once that's off its rocker, once the French horn is stitched, then I will start to stitch my next canvas, which the more I look at it, y'all, I need this to be a sunflower. But I'm more and more sure it's a black-eyed Susan. So I don't know. So if somebody could clarify, or can we just all pretend, for the sake of my brain, that this is in fact a sunflower no matter what? Or how do I turn it so it looks more like a sunflower? Like, do I just stitch these greens? Do I maybe stitch those in the yellows? So it just looks like another layer of... I think that's what's throwing me off, right? Because a sunflower is going to be black in the middle anyways. But I think what's throwing me off is the space between the petals. Because a sunflower would have multiple layers of yellow petals, where a black-eyed Susan I don't think does. So if I stitched, rather than stitching the green in between, what if I made those more of the yellow and yellow and brightened up the yellows? What do y'all think? Please somebody help me, because and if you all would like, once Bella gets going, she's got finals coming up, and stuff like that for the semester. So, if you all want me to keep you posted on, her stitching, and then we've got to find William his project too. Because he originally was going to stitch the French horn, but then,
come on.
That just would not have been an enjoyable stitch, and he would have given it up anyway. So I would have had it, and I knew that the second I felt the threads. So we'll probably be looking at trying to find him a canvas or drawing him one. So yeah, so that's where we're at. Send prayers for this week. I'm going to highly encourage everybody to take a deep breath. Remember to not add too much to your plate. It is okay to have healthy boundaries. And sometimes you just replace it rather than worrying about where the one it is that you already have. Now that's, you know. So, I'm going to let you go. I will drop in the links for Tammy's pattern for her church fundraiser, and a link to Seams Fabric for my friend Jesse's shop. It's a great shop, especially like in general for fabrics and stuff. And she carries Cosmo Floss and some embroidery kits. So, with that said, remember, you are smart. You are beautiful. You are strong and brave. You are loved. You are needed. And you are wanted. And mostly, you matter. So if you need me, feel free to reach out to His Princess Kelly on Instagram, on the Book of Faces, on TikTok, on all of the things. And we'll go from there. I think if somebody reminds me, we'll start after Thanksgiving planning for next year. I do have some very distinct plans in addition to my Jeeps. So we'll talk soon. Bye, y'all.